Welcome to World Wrap, your global snapshot for Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. Here's what's happening around the world. Ceasefire talks for Ukraine face initial hurdles despite high-level calls. South Asia sees a cautious calm but continued diplomatic maneuvering, and global tech giants push new AI frontiers. These stories and more coming right up. In South Asia, a fragile de-escalation continues between India and Pakistan, though underlying tensions persist. Both countries are reportedly engaging with international partners, including the US and China, who have urged restraint and dialogue following the military flare-up earlier this month. India's military remains on alert along the line of control in Kashmir, and security reviews are ongoing. In domestic India news, the focus remains on economic indicators, with April's industrial output figures expected soon. The Securities and Exchange Board of India, or SEBI, is also reportedly considering new regulations for the rapidly growing fintech sector to enhance consumer protection and financial stability. In Bangladesh, authorities are stepping up efforts to combat dengue fever as the monsoon season approaches. Sri Lanka is holding further discussions with the IMF regarding its economic recovery program. Across Southeast Asia, ASEAN member states are actively discussing strategies to boost intra-regional trade and investment, particularly in the digital economy and sustainable industries. The Philippines continues its push for an ASEAN-wide visa to promote tourism. In Indonesia, the government is advancing its plans to become a major hub in the electric vehicle supply chain, attracting foreign investment into nickel processing and battery manufacturing. Thailand's tourism sector is seeing a steady recovery, with the government launching new campaigns to attract visitors from key markets. In East Asia, Japan's government is moving forward with its strategy to make quantum technology a new industrial pillar with new funding initiatives announced for research and startup development. South Korea's tech companies, including Samsung and SK Hynix, are navigating the complexities of global semiconductor supply chains and US-China tech rivalry, while continuing to invest heavily in next-generation chip research and development. South Korean robotics firms also made a strong showing at the recent ICRA 2025 conference. Watch for statements from ongoing diplomatic efforts regarding India-Pakistan and key economic data releases from India and Japan. In China, the economic outlook remains a central focus for policymakers. Following the recent coordinated cut in deposit rates by major state-owned banks aimed at boosting lending and consumption, the People's Bank of China is closely monitoring market liquidity. The government continues to emphasize its AI Plus initiative, driving the integration of artificial intelligence across various industries to enhance productivity and innovation. On the international front, China is working to manage the implications of the 90-day tariff reduction agreement with the United States, while also strengthening economic ties with other regions, notably Latin America through the ongoing China-CELAC Forum. Beijing is also preparing for the next round of strategic dialogues with the European Union. Across Africa, discussions on digital transformation and sustainable development are prominent. Following last week's Africa Bank 4.0 summit in Nairobi and the WSIS Plus 20 Africa Regional Review in Benin, leaders are focusing on implementing strategies to enhance financial inclusion, improve digital infrastructure, and foster local innovation. In South Africa, the Department of Mineral and Petroleum Resources outlined its critical minerals strategy and new mineral resources development bill this week, aiming to attract investment and ensure sustainable development of the nation's mineral wealth. South African Deputy President Paul Mashatile is continuing his working visit to France, aimed at strengthening bilateral economic and political ties. Regional efforts also continue to address security challenges in parts of the Sahel and the Horn of Africa. In Australia, the Reserve Bank of Australia's recent decision to hold interest rates steady continues to be analysed, with markets watching for upcoming inflation data and its potential impact on future monetary policy. The Australian government is also pushing its renewable energy agenda, with significant investments in solar, wind and battery storage projects. There's also growing discussion about strengthening Australia's cybersecurity measures for critical infrastructure. In New Zealand, Prime Minister Christopher Luxon's government is navigating debates around its proposed social media ban for under-16s and healthcare system reforms. Across the Pacific Islands, leaders are preparing for upcoming regional forums focused on climate action, maritime security, and sustainable economic development, seeking greater international support for their initiatives. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza remains dire, with the United Nations and numerous aid agencies issuing urgent appeals for unimpeded humanitarian access and a sustainable ceasefire. Israel's planned military offensive in Rafah continues to draw widespread international condemnation due to the potential catastrophic impact on over 1 million displaced Palestinians sheltering there. Diplomatic efforts involving Egypt, Qatar, and the U.S. are reportedly ongoing to broker a truce and a hostage release deal, following U.S. President Donald Trump's regional tour last week, which included major economic and defense agreements with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE. The focus is now on the implementation of these deals and their broader impact on regional dynamics. Oil markets remain sensitive to geopolitical developments in the region. In the United Kingdom, economic data released today showed a slight uptick in consumer confidence for May, though it remains historically low. The government is focused on tackling inflation and addressing cost-of-living pressures. Prime Minister Keir Starmer's efforts to reset trade and defense ties with the European Union continue following Monday's summit in London. Across the EU, officials are working on the details of a 17th sanctions package against Russia. The bloc is also advancing its Green Deal initiatives and digital regulations, including the AI Act. In Germany, Chancellor Friedrich Merz's new government is outlining its policy priorities, while France is addressing domestic social and economic challenges. The situation surrounding Ukraine remains critical. While U.S. President Donald Trump announced earlier this week that Russia and Ukraine would immediately start negotiations towards a ceasefire following his call with President Putin, Ukrainian officials today expressed caution, stating that while Kyiv is ready for genuine peace talks, Russia's recent actions and rhetoric do not yet demonstrate a sincere commitment to a just resolution. Fighting continues in eastern Ukraine, with both sides reporting engagements. Across Latin America, the economic climate continues to be shaped by global trends and domestic policies. The China-CELAC Forum in Beijing this week highlighted China's expanding influence and investment in the region, focusing on trade, infrastructure, and technology. In Brazil, President Lula da Silva's administration is implementing measures to boost domestic manufacturing and address social inequalities, while also preparing for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup. Argentina under President Javier Milei is forging ahead with its economic austerity program, which has seen some initial positive market signals regarding reduced sovereign risk, but also faces significant social and inflationary challenges. Mexico's presidential election campaigns are in full swing, with security and economic policy remaining key voter concerns. Countries like Chile and Colombia are navigating fluctuating global commodity prices and implementing domestic reforms. In culture, the Cannes Film Festival continues to generate buzz with premieres and industry deals. Today also marks the International Day for Biological Diversity, with events worldwide highlighting the importance of protecting ecosystems and species. In sports, European Football League titles are being decided, with dramatic finishes anticipated this weekend. In tech, there's ongoing excitement about advancements in AI-powered tools for creative industries, from automated video editing to personalized content generation, alongside discussions about their ethical implications and impact on employment. That's World Wrap for Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. Like and follow us for more daily updates from around the globe. See you tomorrow.